Hmm. 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 Okay. The lantern with the RGF, the master, the RGF again. the AMG, the Lancer, the BMW, the NSX, the Vantage, the RS1, Subaru, the AMG, and then the Lancer again. Now the Lancer, turbocharger front wheel, right? Yeah. Like some of these cars for all intents and purposes, because it's Group 3. Okay. The weather's fine. Yeah. And so is the car list, but I didn't look at the car list when I jumped in. I just picked the car and then just did the race. Okay. And I'm out of shape on this car, and it's not my car because it's turbocharger. And I like the Lancer, but it's not my car. It's a big car. It's a big car, and it's a big car, and it's a lot of car. Okay. I take the left. And hand over the overtakes. There goes the MG and the Subaru. The Vantage clips me. And I don't know about this RS1, but I get a clean break. Okay. Now I'm behind this Vantage and the Subaru, but the car is speeding up so fast that I thought I was going to take the left, but I have to take the right. Okay. For some reason, they just lost their place in the car list. Okay. So then I'm trying to get a handle on this Lancer. That is a lot of car. Okay. I can pick between the left and the right. Okay. But then I'm in the middle uncomfortably a lot of the time. Now I catch up to the car list and I'm trying to get an overtake, but this AMG says, listen, it's busy up ahead, just hang on and let's not get into an incident or have any contact. Right. So then I get an overtake on the AMG and it's just like, well, you handle this now. And I went, oh, that's a lot of cars and there's no space there. And he goes, right. Okay. So then I stay to the right and I get the overtake on the Mazda and the NSX. The NSX clearly just says, that's a turbocharger from real, it's a lot of car, I'm out. Okay. And I even clip it with the aspiration. Right. Now I'm behind this RCF. And I get the overtake. Okay. Now this happens, which is generally unavoidable. Like the track at that point, if you're getting overtakes, just sends you or just get off the track. Right, because of the aspiration and because of the weather. Okay. Now I overtake the AMG and the RCF. In like a weird livery. So is this Lancer. And now we're up against the BMW in the endurance livery. Okay. But it's a lot of car. Okay. And that's the race. What I didn't mention was the Lancer is a lot of car like the AMG and then like the Mustang. Right? It's like the Mustang because it gives out on you or it throws you or it has its own surprises given the turn because of the throttle. And you could say that it's the acceleration, but I'll just say the wheelbase, by the weight distribution, and the weight on that thing. Because the AMG is a lot of car up front. Like it has no rear end, but it's all nose or whatever. Right. So is the BMW. Right. Like it's a lot of car, like it's a long car. And the Lancer, by the way, is a tall car, like the RCF. Right. So you'd be thinking, oh, the Lancer is a comfortable turbocharger front rear car. And then you'd forget how tall this thing is and how much car it is. Right. And again, the wheelbase and the power weight distribution and the aspiration on it. Something about the Lancer turns into a Mustang, basically. Or for all intents and purposes, or it's a lot like a Mustang. It's even worse than a Mustang because you could get comfortable on a Lancer in a way that you couldn't on a Mustang. And then it throws you. You'd be like over here to the right. minding your throttle the entire time. And you'll be like, can I change the acceleration on this? And I'm like, no. And then we'll go again, you'll see. The race starts. I'm behind and I can't see what's in front of me. But I have to hand over the overtakes just to see what the mood is in the car list. Right. So then I take to the left and the MG overtakes, so there's a Subaru and so is the Vantage. Right. Here's the RS01 and I can't make a single move anywhere trying to avoid contact or an incident. Right. But then I speed up ahead. And I'm inclined to think it's this Vantage just naturally aspirated, just throwing me to the car list, basically. Right. Like bump drafting, just the buddy system, just Colossus and Wolverine being like, do you want to do this or not? And it's just like, just, you know, you can never throw me far enough. And I was like, well, you're always too heavy. And you like this too much. Right. So that was the Subaru and the Vantage. And now it's the MG and the busy car list up ahead, which I have no idea about. And look, I'm trying to stay on the left and on the right and try to be a readable driver to the cars up ahead. With the noise that I'm making, they don't even have to change the look at the rearview mirror and the aspiration, given that it's a turbocharger. That doesn't matter, given that you aspirated. Okay. So then the MG hands over the overtake, and I see the Mustang, I see the NSX, and that I'm clipping the aspiration on them. But here's the RCF, and I'm starting to think, is this aspiration like a lot of it? And I was like, well, probably, given the size of this thing, which is what I'm trying to say. Right. And there it goes, and it's like, it's a little bit, but if I was any more tired today, or any other day, that would have been right. There goes the MG, naturally aspirated. Here goes the RCF. Now it's a Lancer, but I can't just, you know, right. There goes the Lancer, and now it's the Endurance Delivery BMW. Right. And that was it, pretty much. Right. And you see how much I have to underdrive this thing? Right. The aspiration is going on even after you stop out the aspiration, and just like after. Right. In a time trial by myself, I would be going around and around the track. Right. At speed. We could be going slower. And then the aspiration would still follow, going around and around the track. With all of these cars, or with any car list, you don't know what the hell you're doing to the ventilation, or like the clouds and the weather and stuff. Right. Hot air goes up, cold air goes down. Okay. And we're heating up the cars, we're heating up the track, we're overtaking. Okay. And it's a couple of laps, but you can't tell me. The noise level, at least. Right. So it would be like if I had an AC and then like a fan and then like a computer fan and then like one of those handheld like fans or whatever. Right. Then it would be like a jet engine or something. Or a turbine. Like a turbine. Okay. But it's just like a turbocharger car. Right. And then around and around like that. And then you couldn't breathe. You just couldn't. And then when you put a fan to your face, like it makes you like your face wobbly and stuff. Right. And then like you can't breathe in front of a fan, can you? No, that's weird. Don't do that. See what I mean? That's fucked up. Well, go again. Radio silence then. Here. Okay, we won again. Okay, it's the Lancer, the Mazda, the Viper, the Vantage. I mean the Jaguar. Oh, that's confusing. The Jaguar, the AMG, the GTR, the Mustang, the RCF, the Suzuki VGT, and then again, and then the Ferrari that just came out in Group 3, and then the Vantage, and then us in the Lancer. Okay. I don't know any of this, okay? I just jumped into the race. I didn't see the car list. Okay. Let's mind the aspiration and the size of the car. Rear base powder rate distribution on the wedge. Right. And then the injury on the driver and the track and whether or not you can, okay, not make contact or have an incident or an accident or have to deal with funny looks from maintenance and production when you turn around and they talk about you behind your back. Okay then. Just saying. Okay. So then I stick to the left so they can have the easiest overtake. Right. It's the safest thing to do. Right. There goes the Mazda in, in Group 3, right? And then there goes the Viper, and then goes the AMG, and I don't know who this is behind, but they clip me. Right. So then I have all of this aspiration, and I overtake the AMG, and then I'm about to just get to the chicane, and then you just cannot do this. Okay. If you overtake at the chicane from the right, you're one of those where you like, now it's an unsafe driver. Right. Now here's this Mazda. Watch. It's out of place with this livery. With a Viper and a Suzuki. Okay. It's like a girl car. It's not a real car. Watch. The Suzuki VGT in Group 3 is completely a real car. We'll get to it in a second. Like the other one. No, it's not. But let's just see about this Mazda. Right. So then the aspiration is all over the place because of the size of this thing. The Mazda, I mean. And then the carless and everything. Right. Turbocharger notwithstanding. Right. So then I get a clean overtake on the entire carless so far, or this bottleneck or whatever. They're just stuck that way. Right. So then the Vantage hands me the overtake. And now I'm behind the GTR. Okay. But the car is giving out already because of the aspiration and because of the maneuvers that I had to do. You mean the overtakes? Right. On the right, on the left, just to see where everybody else is at. And then, by the way, handing over the aspiration so that nobody gets into an incident or an accident. Okay. Because you can mess up the track on purpose. You could. We'll get into it. Okay. Here's the RCF. I'm real dude. Well, it's a difficult car to drive. It's mostly not a car. Right. So then we're trying to catch up to first place or to the top of the car list or the front of the pack or podium. Right. And we see that it's a Mustang. Like we said before. Right. But I know we could have an incident for fucking sure. Right. Not just anybody drives a Mustang in Group 3. Right. Now, he hands me over the overtake and I do this first. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. They have the natural aspiration, I have the turbocharger aspiration. They're on the left and I'm on the right. And they clearly know they have the overtake. Right. And then I hand it over to them early. Now that entire time that he's accelerating and braking late and taking the turn and overtaking late, I have all of the aspiration. Turbocharger notwithstanding, I could also do this with a Mustang. Okay. So then he clips early, or he turns, or he corners like early, right? Which is a weird thing for a Mustang to do, right? Now that's because he's a skilled driver, or he has a lot of time with a Mustang, but also because I have all of the aspiration on his side now. Oh, so he has a odd amount of maneuverability and then steering and handling, right? Now, at this chicane, by the or at this turn with all of these chicanes. I can do this with the aspiration, right? I can draw in the aspiration from this corner to the next corner. Okay. But this is what happens. Where now I'm all of a sudden wide on the turn. Okay. And close to the Mustang. Okay. They know this. And they do this. Okay. Naturally aspirated. Right. So then he pulls in the aspiration and then swings me to the wall. Okay. But that was a little bit much. Oh, so then respect. And don't do that. Right. Now I can handle it because I'm a skilled driver and I have a lot of time, or enough time in this Lancer, and then he has to hand over the position. Right. Naturally aspirated turbocharger notwithstanding. Okay. But I can't just overtake here. Right. And then look. Oh, there's a weird karma or a weird economy or like a tit for tat. If it's a real car that you can handle driving, but that is just like a risky maneuver or like right, like you pay for it. The same way that he just threw me to the wall basically without meaning to. Like he knew I messed up his steering and his handling when I just took the turn like way early or way late or like way slow. Oh, and so he was saying, I know what you did there. You ain't getting away with nothing. Right. But he messed up and then I was on the wall. Oh. Okay then. But that's because there's no tree line or nothing. There could be a tree line, the wind could be in your favor, you know what I mean? Oh. Shut the fuck. Now, we'll get into the Suzuki VGT later on, but it's the same thing. Like it has a lot of aspiration, like the R8. Like some of these cars are unworkable. Like they're just over specialized. Okay, like you could drive them and race them, but not in real life. Or there's an incident, or like there's a thing about them that is just like you know what? Oh no, you know. Just bear with me. Like it's just for the example. Oh, okay. Or they could fix it, but I don't know how. Because of the design or something. Right. Beats me.